Oh, it's a beer holder. We're going to play some carved top single cut guitars. So this is a vintage V100 reissue. If I hold this second, you grab your Epiphone Les Paul Custom. Obviously they're completely different. This has got more accessy stuff, which is quite cool. But that's more traditional, so that's why they haven't done that.
Yeah, I do like that about this, the fact that
it makes a surprising difference. Both got Grover tuners, but these are the kind of they're like Grover Clusen looking ones. I didn't know Grover made those kind, but I prefer these kind. I just prefer the look and feel.
Grover Deluxe. Does that say Deluxe? I don't know if that's a difference.
No, I don't know, but I would prefer these.
These are more deluxe-y. How much is this one?
$450 on their website, but you can get them for about $350, so it's
and this is the older version, which probably was more like $550.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a couple of £100, so the pickups don't sound as good, but equally you could spend £200 on pickups and you got the same thing. This is correctly doesn't have the scratchy thing. You'd have to unscrew that.
Whereas I like this, especially on the white with black.
You don't like it.
I do like it.
You don't.
I'd be torn whether or not to take it off. It would look wicked without.
I would take it off.
I know you would.
Neither of them have a volute.
Does yours have any poppies?
Oh no, I don't know. No. Mine doesn't have any gimmicks. Okay, yeah, it coil splits for each one of the pickups and does a phase reversal thing. Out of those things, I would sack off the splitting and just have the phase reversal. But it's kind of handy. It means you can buy one guitar for everything. I've got one guitar that coil splits and I never, ever use it. But I've got single coil guitars.
Yeah, I think the phase thing it's one of those things when you know you've got it, it's cool.
You can use it for a thing.
You will barely ever use it. But when you're messing about, you'll be like, oh, that will sound good.
Does that play better than your Harley Benson? I know it's £100,
yeah,
115 quid.
I think it does.
I mean, that's got double binding front and back.
Like I said before, it's got quite a thin neck. I don't know what.
It does feel thin, actually. Push this in.
Oh yeah, you said something about it.
Doesn't that feel nice?
Oh yeah. Here, let me walk it in here. Put it in my hole. Oh, have a go. That's quite nice too.
Is it?
I'll tell you what isn't nice. My Fender player.
Just want to have a quick comparison. See how the neck pickup sounds. Now I'm going to do it with a load of gain, which is not what people do on a neck pickup. But yours sounded great.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. That sounds a bit bigger.
Yeah, it sounded like a fatter bottom. It's got a ghetto booty and the top's a bit more spangly.
Yeah, this is a bit darker, isn't it?
Bridge pickup. These are good sounding pickups, yeah.
I thought it was really good.
Can we compare the neck to a Les Paul in a second?
This guitar has not been touched for about a month, guaranteed, since the last video he did on it.
Well, I definitely prefer them, but it's not much in it. I mean, this is like, let's say £400, and that's 12. You could probably spend £200 on some pickups.
Or, as there's not a lot in it, not bother.
Oh yeah, there's always that.
Because if you didn't have this, and you didn't play it back to back, right next to each other...
Oh, you wouldn't care.
You wouldn't care. They sound good, so you just get that.
It's not like a Harley Benson where you can tell they're dark.
Yeah. Yeah, Harley Benson pickups in general are their downfall. For something like Harley Benson, the playability is really good, so then if you did want to upgrade and put different pickups in, you could spend £200 on a set of pickups. You've got a £300 guitar there and it sounds wicked.
What I've been thinking since playing that, your Epiphone, people will take those pickups out and change them, so you could probably pick some up off eBay for £50. Whack them in something, they're great.
Put those in?
Yeah. I'd put them in a guitar because they sound fantastic.
I don't know
and
why
they'll be cheap.
Yeah, why would you upgrade? It's not.
It's at that level, it's subjective. Sorry, these two are really close.
Yeah.
Considering this is a couple of £100 less, and a couple of £100 less at that sort of price range is a huge difference.
And that feels really nice to play. This feels really nice to play. This feels nice to play.
I'm not going to say there's no point buying a Gibson, because I've got a Gibson and I would keep that over both of those.
I would say there's no point in buying a Gibson.
But this looks amazing. That looks amazing. This is the least. That's the most underwhelming.
So I mean, you got a Gibson, which is, I don't know if this is just because of it's the brackets that I'm looking at guitars for, but I find playing the more budget guitars more interesting because they usually have a higher variety of looks and feels, and
you can get so much for your money. It's a CNC machine.
It's the what you get for your money thing for me, because I really want a gold top Les Paul Gibson one. It's going to cost me £2 to get that.
It's too much money for a gold top.
It's too much money for any guitar, in my opinion.
It is. I don't like spending more than £1,000.
Unless you've got money that you don't care about losing.
Yeah.
Whereas This costs, okay, I won it, but for
That was
about
£6.
But to buy this, the newer version, I think it's about $550. That's $450, or what you just said.
Like top whack, you can get this for $350.
The Harold Bishop is
New.
£115, and I love playing all of those guitars. So to justify paying £2,000 for a guitar.
Well, even this at $1,200.
Yeah, and this one was the studio version, so it's $1,200, which is still, I'd say $1,200 is probably my top whack for buying anything. What we need to do is get a guitarist who can play better than me.
Should we get Pete Honore in?
Get Pete Honore in, get him to play this, get him to play that, get him to play the Gibson Les Paul, and my Harley Benton. There's 4 guitars.
And say which is what where.
And Mark has to listen and only listen, can't play it, and decide what he likes the sound of best. I bet you he doesn't pick the Les Paul, the Gibson.
What we should do is use this as a promo video that I can put on Instagram to get Pete Honore to come down here because he doesn't live far away.
Pete, we need you.
Pete, we need you.
He needs to know
He's following me on Instagram
that Gibsons are a waste of time to buy.
I've got 2 of them. They'll hear you. Like the Fender Player, which is a very good guitar for the money, although these 2 are the same price as a Fender Player, and these are, I'm sorry, but a Fender Player Telecaster, if you're going to build a simple guitar, you build a Telecaster.
Yeah.
This is a carved body, carved top, set neck, angled headstock. There is so much more going on this than a Telecaster. It is untrue.
That's why it's hard
and it's the same price.
Yeah, it's hard to compare it.
That this is a masterpiece. If Gibson did their Player series, which is basically that, but put the proper Gibson headstock on it, stop messing around with all that rubbish.
Yeah, this is not fan favourite.
Just call it a Gibson Player, spray it with nitrocellulose, because if they sprayed it with nitro, you've got a Gibson Les Paul, just because it says Epiphone on it.
That is where I would probably get a Gibson Player version.
Play a Gibson.
Although they probably think the studio's like that.
Well,
That's
I think that is,
quid.
I think there is a thing, but it's £1,200 and it doesn't have binding, whereas you could pay half that and have 8-piece binding, neck, headstock, the lot.
Maybe they're not even bothering with that sort of thing because of all the other companies like Vintage, like Epiphone, like Harley Benton, where the lower price things are getting so good now.
But they could do a mid-range one, like
that. But I think in their mind, that is what the studio is.
they could put a CNC machine in Mexico because it's close, like Fender Player have done, and make a Gibson Les Paul Player, proper full fat like this, but proper headstock for £800. Everyone would buy it.
That would be where I would look for a Gibson.
But you start looking at even the Player series, going, "Come on, guys, you need to try harder because you can buy so much more. You get so much more for so much less." To the point where I think, like, you're buying Gibsons because you got the money. Just so you know, this was £500.
Yeah. And there is a lot to be said about the name on the headstock. Like, I personally don't care. Like, if this says Epiphone, I'm not going to cry because it doesn't say Gibson. But it does make you think differently when you're playing a guitar. And
it does.
So many videos of people playing it and just seeing that it says Gibson and going, oh.
It's got to be better. Like that Gibson SG is my favourite guitar. It's just the best.
And the
guitar
headstock is nicer on a Gibson, to be fair.
It is.
Like, it's the nicer look rather than this is the older version with the cut corners. Some people love it. I really don't like it. You don't like it. Most people don't like it, I don't think. So you just add that little triangle on there. Job done. Which they have done with the newer version of this.
I think this looks better than that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I like this one. And the Harley Benton one's quite good. It's similar to this, but this guitar looks wicked.
It does, doesn't it?
Like, I'd be happy with that. Like that, I wouldn't need to go.
Especially
and
got
get
$350. Imagine buying it used for like what, $250 or £200.
I barely see them. I do search for vintage guitars, and there's not a lot around.
Amazon Prime, £367, I think, because I did the links earlier to it on a video. Yeah, so delivered next day for £370.
How weird.
Can you hang that on the wall? I just want to compare this to my Gibson pickup.
Hang this on the wall.
Yeah, because I do think these sound a little bit better than the vintage ones, but this guitar's £200 more.
And these should be more comparable because it's Epiphone.
Sounds bigger, I think.
Beefier.
These are my favourite humbuckers, which is, people can go, I think because they're just stock Gibson, not exciting humbuckers, people are like, nah, I've got to change them. But they are the 490R and 498T. Right, we'll go bridge. I mean, I prefer the bridge on this and the neck on that.
I was just going to say something.
Right, gain. beefier, but I think I might prefer that.
Yeah, this is more...
Spangly.
It doesn't sound weak, spangly, it's just more... It's a brighter pickup, I think.
So the neck with a load of gain. Sounds better.
What is it? There's something about those pickups.
They're just great sounding
They
pickups.
sound not as low, but massive.
I'd put these in a guitar. I mean, I can't put them in an
one.
SG. Can I have them? Annoyingly, the guitar I'm trying to find my ideal pickups for is a Gibson SG, because it's got the same pickups as that. So I've changed it to single dongers that I don't like. Although I've just got a bare knuckle, so
Maybe
that
you
might
should just play this more. Because, you know, it is your favourite guitar of all time, isn't it, Les Paul?
Well, we've got a rehearsal starting soon.
Yeah.
Could do that.
So we probably should leave this out. Well, you should definitely have a little go on that as well.
Actually, yeah. What I will say is this £600 new, I only paid £500 for that, so that's actually more of a bargain. Although, in fairness, this was £6.
Exactly. That's a bargain.
I think the vintage is the best looking.
Yeah, the vintage is awesome. And everything comes down to one thing, which is there is not one better than the other. They are all amazing, and you can buy loads of guitars and never be unhappy about that.
You could buy all three of these for less than £1,000. That was £500, that was £350, this was £6. It's only £856.
There you go. £1,000 worth of guitar in front of you.
My God! It is getting to the stage where it's a bit generic, just buy whatever you like the look of for whatever price range you can afford. Who cares?
That is literally how we buy all our guitars, because we don't bother playing them first. I like the look of that. Let's order it from online. But that's becoming the new thing. People don't go into guitar shops anymore.
Well, you can buy a guitar for £100, like your Harley Benton. It'll be one of the best playing guitars you ever had.
And the only other one was the PRS I had, which I went in for the Zach Myers one. Came out with just a standard 2, 4, 5.
We make mistakes, but it's fine.
Sold that as well.
Buy what you want, basically. Who cares?
Mill sound cool.
And although maybe change the pickups.
And if you buy a cheap guitar and it doesn't play well, just throw it in the bin.
Where are we going to put all these?